one eyewitness there describing that they saw about 30 fireballs on the horizon. And keep in mind, that's a pretty flat horizon. This is a very flat part of the world. The noise that you are hearing in the tape and the bombing appears to be an effort to flatten the horizon, also to rid that area of landmines. That whole area, both on the Kuwaiti side of the border and the Iraqi side, had a large number of landmines. Those landmines have been cleared from the Kuwaiti side. What was in store on the Iraqi side, not exactly sure, so the military having to go in there first, clear out the landmines so it's safer for other members of the coalition forces to head there. Then we also want to show you, this is coming to us from APTN. This is a video of American and British combat units as they are actually rumbling their way across the border, going into the desert, into Iraq. Early Thursday, and explosions from that artillery fire could be seen inside the country from this side of the border in Kuwait. And then finally, our last piece of video is more about the sound, and I think this tells the story better than even the pictures. This is what we heard at least 3 times last night. Let's listen to this. Of the sirens that you would hear throughout Kuwait City. As I said, about 3 times we were awakened last night. There's supposed to be 3 signals: danger coming, danger here, and then all clear. It seems like the Kuwaitis have gone right to danger here. That's what wakes you up and sends you down to a shelter area with all your gear as you wait for the all clear. The good news is they all did end in all clear, and Kuwait City not hit last night, but not a lot of people in Kuwait City getting a lot of sleep last night, Aaron.
There are a couple of English language newspapers in Kuwait City. If you can get your hands on one, I'd be very interested to see
do that.
Thank you. To see what the headline is in one of those 2 papers. Thank you. It'd be hard to
get the Arab Times. Thank
you. It would be hard to overstate, wouldn't it? The scars left behind the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait. It was in the hotels in Kuwait, in many of the buildings in Kuwait, you will see pictures of what the Iraqis did when they came in, of the destruction they wrought. The signs are everywhere, but in some respects, at least people will tell you that the emotional scars of it, this kind of innocent, simple country so rich with oil, don't forget that, but with almost no other industry at all, was changed dramatically by the events of 12 years ago, which very much set the table for the events we're watching today and the pictures that you're seeing right now in southern Iraq. Darren, you're good. You found a newspaper, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. You asked, we deliver. This is the Arab Times. This is one of the English papers here in Kuwait. I think you can see it well there. America invades Iraq. And then also the kind of sub-headlines: soldiers, civilians bunker as sirens wail. We just talked about that. And then several Iraqi troops surrender. I thought it's been interesting, even with everything that's going on here in this country. This has been the case every day. Now, this is, you have to think, one of the hugest days in the history of this country. And of course, you have a huge headline, and you have this. But as has been the case every day, sports still making the top half.
What is
the
it?
Paper, your soccer scores on page 31, if you need them.
I was going to say, is it soccer or cricket? But it's soccer.
No, it is soccer.
Yeah.
It is soccer.
Well, life goes on. You're a big sports fan, as you know. Much of the country, I think, is with one eye watching the events a world away in Iraq, and here, much of the country with another eye is trying to keep track of the NCAA basketball tournament, which rolled out today. Yes, to Thursday. Let's do it that way.
Not a lot of time to fill out brackets from here in Kuwait City, Aaron.
Pardon?
There hasn't been a lot of time to fill out my brackets from here in Kuwait City, so I guess I'll just have to stick with the soccer scores in the Arab Times.
Thank you. Nice job on the papers, too. Thank you very much. Darren Kagan in Kuwait. I hope the day is safer and more quiet. No, I don't think any reporter wants a totally quiet day, but given the circumstances they're in. Is Becky Diamond available? Okay. Becky Diamond is one of the embedded correspondents. She's out on the USS Milius, as I remember it from last night. Becky, it's good to see you again. What can you report?
Well, Well, Aaron, right now the sailors on board the Milius are keeping a very vigilant watch on the skies above them. This ship, in addition to being a Tomahawk launching first strike ship, which it launched missiles yesterday, is also tasked with maintaining air security for the Persian Gulf, for all of the naval assets in the Gulf. And there are about 80 U.S. Navy ships right now and about 60 coalition ships. That's a big job. And the level of anxiety in the Combat Information Center rose pretty dramatically yesterday and also this morning when Iraq launched some missiles into Kuwait. Now, there are Patriot missile batteries, of course, in Kuwait, but there are none floating in the Persian Gulf. So it's up to ships like the Milius to track incoming missiles and destroy them if need be. Aaron?
Has it been a busy and active day, a quiet, was it a quiet Thursday after the heavy activity of the night before?
Well, it's fascinating. I sit in the Combat Information Center, which is basically the pulse, the heartbeat of this ship, and it's where the missiles would be launched from if they're going to be launched. And almost the busier it gets in the air, the calmer people are here on the ship. It's vigilant. People are determined. They're calm, but they are watching, and they're nervous. There's some level of anxiety, especially with chem bio. Aaron?
Are they aware? Well, let me ask you more directly. How much do they know about what's going on? How much do you know? How much do they know about what's going on in the world away from them over in Iraq?
Well, it's fascinating. It's often a race between CNN and the Navy, and we go often one for one. Who knows what first? So often CNN reports that a Scud has launched or missiles launched from Iraq, and then the sailors find out, or it goes vice versa. Of course, there's a confirmation process that goes into play, but quite often the sailors get their news from CNN or other news gathering organizations.
Now,
Aaron?
People now, Becky, are going to think that was a setup question that we're going to use in some promotional announcement. General Clark, I remember you saying to me once, and it may have been 3 hours ago, that it was not unusual for you guys to look up and get and see on CNN and see on the television networks what was going on out there, and then trying to figure out what it meant in a sense.
Well, I have to tell you that I got my first battle damage assessments always off CNN. When we struck the oil refineries and the other targets there in Belgrade in 1999, the first indication we'd been successful was not from the pilots, it wasn't up through the chain of command, it was on CNN.
Is that in any sense I mean, I have a lot of confidence in the work we do, but seriously, was it in any sense disconcerting that that's how you had to find out, by turning on the television?
Well, actually, it was very helpful.
Okay. Well, good. I'm proud. Becky, thanks a lot. Becky Diamond on the USS Milius, one of the embedded reporters, and found herself with a little piece of the history of this the other night. On the right-hand side of the screen, if you just joined us, I apologize to the rest of you. This is the southern Iraqi desert. This is the 7th Cavalry as they make their way to Baghdad. They've stopped down. They're doing some refueling. They seem still to be stopped. Walt Rogers is with him. We'll get to him in just a second. General, one of the interesting things, frankly, about working with the general is he thinks like bunker at this moment. Kuwait City is only about, if I remember this correctly, it's only from our trip there, it's only 40 miles, a little more than that or so from the border itself. It's not very far away. It takes a while to drive up there, and these days you can't actually drive all the way to the border. It's restricted. But as it's now approaching 9:30 Friday morning in Kuwait, We were asked any number of times when we were there what these towers are. The one in the foreground, the one you see, is very much like the Space Needle in Seattle, I think. These are other, on the right side of your screen, you're also seeing some neighborhood shots in Kuwait. I was saying that those towers on the left, there's a restaurant up there and an observation.
And later it was determined they weren't really as effective as we thought they might have been or should be. But now you've got the Patriot 3. There have been 2 evolutions since then, and the Patriot 3s have had a pretty good track record so far in this engagement. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, they're 2 for 2, Brian. In fact, one of the military commanders that I spoke with yesterday said, Adam, it's a major upgrade, and you can tell that by the shooting 2 missiles out of the sky in the first day. In fact, I do have some more information, Brian. Hang with me for 1 second.
Adam Housley there in Kuwait City. They've just had the warning sirens go off there, and you have some new information there, Adam?
Yeah, in fact, Brian, you talked about the Scud missile, the Patriot missiles. I got the specifics from yesterday. The coalition forces, it's by Battery E, the 2nd Battalion, 43rd Air Defense Artillery Regiment. The unit really belongs to the 108th 88 Brigade from Fort Bliss, Texas. They're the ones that shot out that first missile yesterday. They shot it out of the sky near Camp Doha. The guys out of Texas did a fantastic job. They did it twice yesterday, apparently, and the 3rd time was by the Kuwaiti Army. So, still waiting for the all-clear siren, Brian. This is the longest they've taken in between the warning sign. We should hopefully hear that any moment.
Yeah, the folks in El Paso, Texas, where Fort Bliss is located, no doubt very pleased to hear that about their folks there. We're going to stick with you for a moment, Adam, if you don't mind, just to make sure we get the all-clear signal. What else has been going on there, and what happens there in Kuwait City, not just on the media press platform, but in the city itself when these sirens go off?
Well, right now, as I look around, the streets, when the first siren went off yesterday, Brian, the streets were relatively normal. About 1/3 of the people were actually reacting to the siren. The rest of people just walked around normally and were driving around normally. But by the 2nd siren, and then eventually the 3rd siren, the streets began to empty. And right now, they've been rather quiet all last evening until darkness. This morning, we came out here at dawn. There were only a few cars around, and even right now, there's only about 4 or 5 on the street. The intersection to my right is normally packed throughout the day. So there aren't nearly as many people on the streets here in Kuwait City as normally. In fact, today is their Sunday. Fridays are Sundays here in Kuwait, the way it falls on their Islamic calendar. And so today normally would be a very crowded day on the streets, especially here in downtown.
To the north along the way. There are also parts of the city that are quite old and feel quite Arab, quite Persian, if you will. There's bustling markets, but it's also very Western in many respects. And it's a place that seems to be trying to figure out exactly whether it's going to be a conservative Islamic country or a moderate, or how conservative Islamic country it might be. Darren Kagan is living through it, and she's on the phone and not on the balcony, and we're glad to hear that. Darren?
Yes. Hi, Aaron. I've left my post on the balcony on the 5th floor of the hotel where we're staying. I've come down into the basement. The sirens are going off again here in Kuwait City. It's the long kind of whining siren that goes, and it started probably about a minute or 2 ago. We were just starting to think that things might be calming down here in Kuwait City. The last alarm that we had was just about 7 hours ago, which was a nice long gap. But we hear that, grab our stuff, and come down to the basement where we are with pretty.
Well, it sounds like we lost the phone for a second, and we'll see if we get it back.